What's up, nerd family? Welcome once again to the Poindexter Lounge. My name is Enosh, aka Enosh Fett, and when you say the word Shazam, nothing happens. But it's okay because I'm here today with the lovely
Tifftastic.
That's right. And today, Tiff, we are talking about something very, very cool.
Oh yes, our favorite. We got to see 2 weeks early, and it's been so hard to keep my mouth shut for 2 weeks.
That's right. We're talking about this guy right here,
yeah.
Mr. Shazam himself. Now, look, we didn't do a proper review of the movie when we saw it.
No,
we did a live stream.
We got to see it early, and we couldn't do any spoilers.
That's right.
Obviously, so we had a hard time talking about it.
So we're going to talk about two things. So first of all, we're going to jump into the fact that this is the little movie that could.
It is.
Really, because this has a lower budget.
It's become one of my favorites.
Yes, this movie had a lower budget. It's not like
DC.
the big DC movies that have 150 million plus budget.
But that's not why I love it.
Exactly. But this movie has so much going for it, and the thing was, I was really disappointed when I heard that like it was only tracking to make like 40 to 45 million dollars.
Yeah. Exactly.
But the thing is this movie also doesn't have to make $1 billion, right? So so that's the thing.
But I still hope it does.
I would love to see that. I mean, whether I don't think it probably will, but I think that this is going to have good word of mouth. I think that like once it's come out now, that who knows what next week could be.
Exactly.
Because not a lot of people know who Shazam is. Even though Shazam has been around forever and has been around, he's only a year younger than Superman. So even though that's the case, so even though that's the case, a lot of people just don't know who Shazam is. Maybe they've heard of him, they've seen him, but they don't really know who he is. They don't know what he's all about. And I think that now this movie being introduced, there's going to be more and more that we're going to be seeing here in the next week, really pushing this movie. Yes. Especially when it comes out, it's the #1 movie. It's going to whatever. So
plus Zachary Levi and Mark Strong kicked all kinds of comic butt in this movie.
Yeah. So now we're going to do our review, but first let's talk about the fact that they only predicted $40 to $45 million, which I thought was a low number. Now look, it exceeded that though. It did $53 million this weekend. Yes. Which is great.
Which is awesome
for this type of movie. With this type of character that doesn't have anything else pushing it. It's not like the Captain Marvel movie that had this train of the Avengers and 10 years worth of Marvel movies pushing it forward.
This is a movie that's a firsties. We've got to learn a background and everything within one movie, and I think that they knocked that out of the park.
And it's a thing solely unto itself.
Yes.
Right. So that's that's the thing. Yes, it is part of the bigger DCEU, but I mean when I say that, I mean as far as it being. Like I said, it doesn't have this juggernaut behind it, right? Yeah. It's not like there's like a whole slew of DC movies that prop this movie up to say, here it is, go see it. And it doesn't connect with some huge movie like Captain Marvel does going into Avengers, right? So it doesn't have that. So don't expect this movie to be $1 billion, but it doesn't have to be that, first of all, to be profitable.
But as its own standalone,
it doesn't have to be that to be profitable or for it to be a success. And I think that we need to stop judging movies by the fact that they're only worthwhile if they made $1 billion or whatever, because that's just not. I don't think that that's fair to any movie. First of all, regardless of what movie it is, because there are many great movies, and this movie is more of a smaller budget. Because I think
it doesn't feel small budget to me though.
Yeah, it's still really good. But so it made $53 million at the domestic box office. So far this weekend around the world, it's made upwards of over $150 million.
Awesome.
It made $3 million at its premiere, which was actually more than Aquaman made, more than any of these other premieres have made.
Plus, on top of it, not only is it an awesome movie, is it a great comic movie that can start this whole slew of things going forward. But I also love the humbleness of Zachary Levi and how excited he is. He's doing like some of these characters where he's jumping in. He's in for the long haul. He loves this. He's delved into it. But yet he goes on Instagram and says, I am honored and blown away and excited. And I love when when people, celebrities do that, because then it makes me, personally, I like the character and I like the person playing the character because you care enough to put all this work and time and effort and everything into it.
Absolutely. And so I'm really happy that it's doing well. And like I said, if you have not seen Shazam,
you need to in the theater at least once.
See Shazam in the theater. Look, it's fun. And look, this is what we're gonna do. So we're gonna do a little mini review, kind of a non-spoiler review. You know, we may hit some minor spoilers, but really we're not gonna give anything away. We just want you to know how good this movie is. So here's the thing. This is a good family movie.
It is.
Yet it does have some kind of scary parts in it.
Yeah, ish, depending on how young your kid is.
Yeah. So you do want to be prepared for that, but I think that it balances it out a little bit, because there are parts of it that it's like is kind of kiddie and kind of cheesy and whatever. But you got to remember, Captain Marvel's nickname is the Big Red Cheese. That is his nickname. So like that's the whole point, is he's a kid.
He's an adult, but it also, you know, there's one line that's in the previews that's not ruining anything, and he goes, "How old are you exactly?" And he's like, "Technically 15."
Well, he says 15, around 15, because he's 14, and so he's even then he's trying to boost up, like, you know, I'm 1 year older.
But
you know.
So on top of that, yes, you're in an adult body, but you're still a kid with all these superpowers and trying, you know, so you're gonna have that sense of humor in that kid, you know, mentality.
I think they give us a great villain. In Mark Strong.
Yes.
Mark Strong just does a tremendous job as Dr. Savannah. And the thing is that
and they really fleshed out his story too, which I thought was nice.
Yes, a great flesh out to his story, as far as like who he was, what his motivation was,
where he came from, how he ended up that way.
Yeah, it made you believe him, and I think that's one of the things that DC does very well, is they have really good villains. Villains that you care about. And even though The Rock is supposed to be playing Black Adam, which is actually technically Shazam's main villain, Dr. Savannah is a tremendous villain for this movie. And I came out of this movie glad that they didn't use The Rock up front.
Yes.
Because they set it up in a way that when they do use The Rock, hopefully in a sequel, it's gonna just be that much better, because we will have already gotten this great movie with a lower tiered villain, and now you bring in the big guy. Oh my gosh!
After he's learned more of his powers, how to use them, how to hone them, I think that's gonna be awesome.
Yes. So I think that's tremendous. Now, for those of you who don't know, Shazam is the story of a 14-year-old boy named Billy Batson, who is chosen by the wizard Shazam. Now, there's a lot of magic in this. Right?
Yes,
so this movie has a lot of different things, because it's like Superman meets Harry Potter, meets there's some scary parts to
Stranger
it too.
Things-ish.
Meets Big.
Yes.
Meets Goonies.
Oh my gosh, with the piano.
Yes, meets Goonies. You know, any kind of kid movie from the 80s that was like a team up of that, maybe a little bit of the Monster Squad.
True.
If you remember that movie, like where the kids have to band together and they fight these, you know, these monsters, because that's very much what they end up doing. So it's very cool. So all these superpowers. So he is contacted by the wizard Shazam, who is looking for a champion. Yes. Somebody to take on his powers to become their champion. That is the character Shazam.
He's losing the time to keep the 7 deadly sins at bay.
Yes.
And their stones that hold them in are cracking, and that's why he's trying to find someone before that happens.
Yes. And so Dr. Savannah's motivation is the fact that he was actually chosen to come and be judged to see if he could be the champion when he was a kid. And he was rejected. Now, here's one of the things that I do like, and this is kind of a minor spoiler, but this is not really a huge spoiler, and that is the fact that I like the fact that many people were chosen.
But not all of them are worthy.
But not all of them were worthy.
Yes.
So, like, the story goes is that all these people were chosen, and Dr. Savannah is trying to get to the bottom of, like, how to get back there, because once he's rejected...
why wasn't he chosen? Yeah.
Once he's rejected, he wants to get back to the Rock of Eternity,
and it wasn't his only rejection in life, too, which we find out, too.
So the Rock of Eternity is basically the place where the wizard resides. It's kind of in this other dimensional kind of place.
Tweener place.
Yeah, and so Dr. Savannah is trying to figure out how to use the magic to get back to that place, and he can't do it. And so it's an interesting way that they unfold that. But then Billy Batson is chosen, and he is picked to be the champion, Shazam. Yes. And then from there, it's just a carnival ride. basically, that just goes on where he's learning to use his powers.
Which kind of powers he has.
Yeah, and he's him
bullet immunity.
I know. And so then there's Freddy, who is the other kid that he's basically they're basically a bunch of orphans in a home together.
Well, they've been put together they're in a
foster
family.
Care. Yeah.
And I love the parents that were in.
There's 6 kids total. Yes. 6 kids total. With pretty much every ethnic background.
Yes.
There's an Asian kid, an African American kid, a Mexican kid,
a
white kid who's a cripple, and Billy. And now I don't know about you, but the little African American girl, I don't know her name right now. Man, did she not do just like phenomenal in all her?
So stinking cute.
In all of her scenes.
I loved her.
In all of her
scenes. Can she keep it a secret?
That was great.
Minimal.
That was really cool. And so I think that this movie does something in a very organic way.
Yes.
That other movies do, but they try to kind of
succeed.
They push it. They push it too hard, and that is having female characters, having characters of color, having characters of different ethnic backgrounds, kids, the whole 9 yards, and
they broke through all those barriers with this movie.
And yet they don't like force it.
Yeah.
It feels natural. Yes. And I really, it deals with rejection. It deals with
this movie. Not only did it make me laugh and like root, but it also made you tear up at times too.
Oh, right there in the heart. Oh, be still my heart.
But it made us tear up as well.
Yeah, and also Billy is not the perfect kid. Just because he gets chosen,
no.
He's pretty. Once he gets these powers, he's pretty arrogant,
cocky.
He's trying to make money off of it. Lightning from my hands, lightning from my hands, lightning from my hands. It's set in Philadelphia, and so there's a Rocky reference there. Lots of great references. Lots of great DC references in this movie. And I like how they did it, where it's connected, but it's its own thing.
Yes.
It doesn't rely on everything else to tell its story.
Yes.
It is its own thing, and I really love that.
I do too.
I love that a lot, and
I love that we could take our family and all of us had our own experience from a different point of view, and yet we all loved it for the same reasons.
Yeah, it was just it was a good movie.
It was,
and
you need to see it at least once in the theater.
Yeah, you got to see this movie in the theater, and I would actually ask you as a favor to us, because it's important, I think, for Warner Brothers to see that there is still life in this.
Yes.
All right, that. I know there's some people who say just reboot the whole thing, but I think a lot of the people who say that are simply just angry people who who just they just can't appreciate the DC universe for what it is. If you're a DC fan like me and Tiffany and our family, I would ask you, go see this movie a couple of times. Show Warner Brothers that these are the types of movies we want. We want movies with heart that still can be serious, that are still representations of the DCEU. We just did another video talking about Suicide Squad, about how they're it's still connected to the old DCEU with Amanda Waller. Viola Davis is coming back, and you got Margot Robbie coming back, and Jai Courtney coming back, and also all these people. So there's still these connections, and we want to see those connections. They can move on from here with the DCEU in a positive way. We've got Aquaman. We've got a Wonder Woman movie coming out next year. There's a lot of positive things that still can come out of this, folks. And I think that DC has made a lot of the corrections that they need to make. There's always going to be room for improvement, but I think that they're moving in the right direction, don't you, Tiff?
I do too.
Yeah,
I think that because there's more movies that just have, it's just they've got more heart, they've got more action, they've got, I don't know. It's not just because I'm a DC fan. I mean, everyone's going to have their, pick their line of DC and Marvel, but I love the way that DC portrays their stories, what they choose versus what they don't, the people they choose for their leads. Everything is just phenomenal to me.
It's just fun. It's a fun movie.
I leave these movies, in the same movie, I can tear up, I can laugh, I can be like, yeah, like kick butt scenes when they're like, fighting, and it's just, I feel that way in like a lot more of the DC movies than I do any other movie.
There's one scene in this movie I will tell you. I won't tell you what the scene is, but when we went to go see it, the entire theater erupted And it's something that I didn't know if it was going to happen in this movie or if it was going to be saved for the sequel. But when it happened, literally, we were all so excited. And I can honestly say that in all the movies, and you guys know what a huge Star Wars fan I am and everything else. I have to say this was the most, what was the word I used? This was the most satisfying moment in a movie that I think I've ever experienced.
I think so too.
It was such a great moment that, I mean, had us cheering. We were just like,
the whole theater.
Yes, yes, because of what it was. And so, you know, like I said, everybody has a different experience, but I encourage you to go see Shazam in the theaters. Add to what has already been a successful weekend for Warner Brothers, for DC.
You will not be disappointed.
And you know, and look, you know, I know Tiffany mentioned it, but you know what? We don't have to draw dividing lines between Marvel and DC. We can like everything.
It's like putting peanut butter in my chocolate. You can have some Marvel and some DC. Exactly,
because you know what? When these types of movies are made and they're successful and we send messages about what works and what doesn't, you know what?
Maybe
all we can do is win.
All the other ones.
All we can do, everybody wins. Everybody wins, and it's good for the industry. It's good for these movies, for there to be healthy DC movies and healthy Marvel movies.
Just healthy nerd movies.
Exactly. But hey, have you seen Shazam this weekend? Let us know what you thought about it down in the comment section. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you think, because we just love talking about this stuff, all right? So leave a comment down in the comment section. Also, follow us on social media where you can share videos with us of your takes on it, because we would love to hear from you, literally hear from you. So you can share a video on our Facebook page or on our Instagram or on our Twitter, and that way we can actually see you and hear from you, your heart of what you feel about these properties, all right, guys? Thanks so much for joining us today. Remember, look forward to our new giveaway coming soon, and just know this. We're just glad to have you here. We have surpassed 6,000 subscribers this last week, and we're already well on our way to 7,000. And I know that 10,000 is just around the corner, and I just see bigger and better things for the Poindexter Lounge, and you guys are a part of that. Get in on the ground floor of this community of fans. All right, guys, until next time, my name is Enosh, a.k.a. Enosh Fett, saying, along with the lovely
Tifftastic,
Shazam! The power will be with you. The magic will be with you if you say that magic word. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. So if you've made it this far into the video, thanks so much. We're so glad to have you here. Please make sure to like this video, hit subscribe, and as always, hit the notifications bell so that you know when we put out new videos, which is like all the time. Thanks for coming along for the ride. We hope you're here for more.